Being a new mom is hard. We get it.
It's easy to feel alone, but we know that's never how God intended it. So we want to welcome you to the Motherhood.
If you need professional parenting advice, clinically proven data, or study-based evidence, please let us know where to find it. Because here at the Motherhood, we focus on sharing experiences, offering encouragement and understanding, but most importantly, friendship.
We're here to do motherhood together.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Motherhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Riley.
And we are just so glad you're here today. I think this episode and the next few episodes that we're going to be recording are going to be some fun ones in honor of both of our daughters now having turned officially 1 year old.
So sad.
Sad. Like insert like teardrops on my eyes right here. But we thought it would be fun to share our birth stories.
Yeah, and one super cool thing about each of the three stories we're going to share is that they are so vastly different.
They're pretty different.
So I feel like there's going to be something for everyone out there between the three of them. And if nothing else, I think they're pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Just have fun listening to it.
Ayla's. Especially Ayla's.
Yeah, so maybe if you're a mom who is pregnant now, you might just be looking for some advice, looking for some stories. We hope you find something in this. Maybe, again, like Riley said, you're just looking for some entertainment. We hope that you will jump along, join in on the fun. We're going to be posting all three of the stories at once, so you can listen to them all if you want to.
But without further ado, let's just hop right into the first one.
Gonna take it away.
This is Indy's birth, and it's a positive C-section story. I feel like a lot of times we hear the word C-section and we kind of like panic. Like, oh my gosh, not only is it a major surgery, but you're awake for it. Yeah. So,
but you're awake for it.
But typically they just knock you out and you wake up and it's over. But with the C-section, you're there. Anyways, you're not zoning out for that one. But it's kind of funny because, of course, I'm a planner and I research things, and so I had made a birth plan, but I had this gut feeling from the very beginning that I was going to need a C-section. I don't know why. I can't tell you. I don't know if it was God preparing me or what, but I just had this feeling, you're going to have a C-section. And so a very specific prayer that I prayed was like, God, if I'm going to have a C-section, please let the baby be Breech, or let there be a reason that I know it's coming so that I can prepare. And so, again, planner. So, I kind of think it's crazy the way that everything happened. And I had a very difficult, I won't say difficult, it was a high-risk pregnancy, and it was like a roller coaster. Because I had my regular OB, very confident that I had a high-risk pregnancy, and I went to a high-risk doctor who was very confident that I was fine, and so it was just back and forth. But I'm happy to do another episode on that if that's something people comment wanting to hear more of. But for the sake of this story, I'm going to try to be very light in that and go into the birth more hardcore. So, I had 3 conditions that basically all resulted in the side effect of like slow growth for the baby. So Indy was measuring small I would say pretty early on. At my 20-week scan, she was small and my fluid was low, and that's what started the close monitoring. I got ultrasounds at every visit. They were constantly measuring my fluid and all that. So the first, condition they saw in that scan was basically one that means I had low fluid, and the technical term I can't really pronounce, but it's this.
Oligohydramnios.
So again, low fluid. And believe me, it's easier to do that than for me to sit here and make a fool of myself trying to say that. But then I also had what's called an age placenta, and they actually thought that this could be related to COVID. And what that means is just what it sounds like. My placenta appeared further along in gestation than actually was.
Yeah. And you had COVID while you were pregnant, right?
Well, I tested negative, but the doctor was like, no, I'm pretty confident you tested early or late, and you had, because I lost taste and smell. Like, what else could it be, So, yes, pretty sure it was COVID. And then the last thing is what's called a marginal cord insertion. And so, basically, your placenta is like a disc shape, and typically the cord attaches in the dead center, and it attached off to the side, or the margin, if you will. And so, all of those conditions can result in slow growth and just need to be monitored. And so I had 3 of them, therefore was definitely being monitored. And technically qualified me for a high-risk pregnancy, and so that is what got me into that situation. I was getting monitored every week, like I said, or not every week, every couple weeks, every visit, I would get a scan. And so I went in for my 32-week appointment, and she basically scared me, saying she thought Indy could come at any time because it measured lower than it had, like significantly lower. And so from then on, I had weekly appointments, high risk, regular doctor, high risk, regular, and so on and so forth. Made it to 37 weeks, which was huge because if you think your baby is coming at 32, I mean, that's 5 weeks that I was able to keep her in. So.
And probably felt like a long 5 weeks.
And stressful.
You're like, I don't know when this baby's coming.
But it was really nice, though, because she was like at 32 weeks. She was like, if we can just get you to 34. And then at 34, it was like, if you could make it to 36, we'd really be happy with that. And 37 was my personal goal because at 37 weeks, she is not required to go to the NICU. So at our particular hospital, if you give birth before 37 weeks, even if your baby is fine, which is totally possible, they do go to NICU to at least get an assessment. And so at 37 weeks, if she was fine, breathing, had good levels, she wouldn't have to go. So go for this appointment, and the lady is just scanning and scanning and scanning, and she looks concerned. And I go to a very large practice, so I don't know if it's average, but I did not see the same ultrasonographer twice. And so this person is unfamiliar with me and my condition. And so she's scanning, and at this point, I'm a seasoned vet, so I know what I'm looking for on the screen. I know what number is go time and all that. We didn't want to get below 5 centimeters with a 2 by 2 centimeter pocket. As long as I was 5 or higher with that 2 by 2 centimeter pocket, I was good to keep her in. But if at any point it went under that, the doctor said she would be better off out than in. So, which was very stressful because, like, I feel like I was hyper aware of, like, kick counts and stuff. Because that's the thing, like, if I was leaking fluid or if it did get small, I mean, that can be really dangerous. So you kind of have to be on it at that point. So, anyways, at this appointment, she's looking all concerned, and I just, like, literally look at her, and I'm like, is Dr. going to take the baby today? And she goes, well, are your bags packed? Because she can't tell me, actual diagnostic stuff. But she was like, I would not be surprised if you were scheduling a delivery today. And so that happened. I then proceeded to wait for an hour to see the doctor because it was during COVID, like I said. And it was at the end of COVID, but still the effects were still in place. So, like, doctors were out sick. Everybody was covering for each other. Like, it was just how it was. So, after I finally get to see the doctor, she's talking to me, and she's like, yeah, I think we're there. I think it's time. I think she will do just fine on the outside world. Like, let's go ahead and schedule this. And she says something that kind of has me thinking. She was like, something along the lines of, like, I think since you still have that 2 by 2 pocket, because my fluid was measuring about 3.3 centimeters, but again, the 2 by 2 pocket was there. And so she was like, since you have that, we'd probably be okay to wait, like, I don't know. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this is a Thursday. I'm thinking, okay, she's going to give me to the weekend.
Maybe the weekend,
Yeah, okay. And she's like, until tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, it really is happening. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but from 20 weeks on, she was also breech. And because of the low fluid, I did not anticipate her having the ability to turn because the fluid is what gives them the ability to do that. And she did not have that. So I was pretty sure it was going to be a C-section. I still did a couple spinning baby things just, in case. So after that, she escorted me to the office of the lady who does, like, the scheduling and stuff. And they had a 5 o'clock p.m. opening in the OR, and she was like, I'll see you at 5.
That same day, right?
Same day.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I left the doctor's office at 1. Surgery is now scheduled at 5, and I had to go home, get Connor. Now, during the waiting period from the scan to seeing the doctor, I texted Connor, had him come home from work, let my mom know. Yeah, they were the two that were going to come with me. At the time, you could have 2 guests. They could not switch out, but they could come and go as they pleased. So those are my 2. They were at the house waiting on me. We kind of all knew it was going to happen. So go there, kill about an hour, and then literally drove to the hospital to do pre-op at 3. So which is also kind of cool because I feel like it didn't give me time to stress. Like, it was, like, excitement.
Yeah.
We were all, like, the family had, like, a group thread, and we were, like, guessing what the weight was going to be and all that. And so, fast forward to 3 o'clock, we check in, and it's kind of crazy because I just feel like the atmosphere was so different than what I anticipated.
Yeah.
And I want to preface this by saying this story is not... I don't know if it's the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I totally understand that not all C-sections are this way. A lot of them are emergencies. So please take into account that I am a scheduled C-section. Yeah. Because even though it was the same day, again, we literally made an appointment for the surgery. It's not like I was rushed back for an emergency C-section. Yeah. So just preface that. Scheduled C-section, okay? But... people came in, they introduced themselves, I talked to the doctor, the nurses, the anesthesiologist, all that, and we were really just waiting for me to get fluids in my system, making sure all my labs came back normal, and then waiting for that time slot. Mm-hmm. Well, they were like, hey, the OR's open, do you guys want to go ahead and do this? And
so crazy.
Sure, like, and so, yeah, it was really weird, too, because, like, I walked back to the OR because, I mean, I didn't have an epidural spinal block, no reason I couldn't. So that was really surreal, like, and then, like, you walk into the, it's just weird, like, because I've had surgery before, and you get wheeled back, you know, so just, like, to walk into this, like, sterile room with all these, I don't know, it's just crazy, but, so, I actually realized, at the beginning, you go in, you sit on the table, and you get ready for the spinal block. Everybody's introducing themselves, like, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm going to be over here, I'm so-and-so, I'm doing this, and you're like, I'm not going to remember any of that, but cool, and, the anesthesiologist is there. I recognize him from the room. This other girl introduces herself, says she's going to be working with him. Awesome. And it's not until I'm like, I'd say probably halfway through with the spinal block, that she is, like, the anesthesiologist is whispering to this girl, and he's confirming things. And in that moment, I realize, oh, shoot, this is a resident doing my spinal block. And this is going to help some people out there if you're expecting a C-section. Spinal blocks are not immediate, okay? So I thought it was going to be like general anesthesia where they knock you out. Like, literally, they're putting that medicine in you, and as it's entering your body, your eyes are closing. Spinal blocks aren't like that with pain. It takes probably like 5-10-ish minutes for it to work. So I'm freaking out because I'm like, a resident just did this, and I can still wiggle my toes. Like, I heard you shouldn't be able to wiggle.
It's not working.
Yeah. And I'm like, please don't do anything. And of course they're like, no, we got you. It's good. It's, whatever. And I'm also like a people pleaser, so I'm not really voicing these concerns. Like, they're affirming me, being like, let me know if you feel this. How does this feel? But I'm like, I can definitely feel you're poking, but I don't feel pain. And they were like, that's good.
I'm just laughing as, like, being a people pleaser. I could just see you being on the table getting cut open, and you're like, you feel everything, but you're like, no, I'm fine. This is great.
Sorry. And then, like, one other thing that I distinctly remember, which was so weird, is, like, and I appreciated it because I'm also a little bit OCD with things. The doctor was, like, marking on my, like, abdomen, like, where she was going to cut. And then she went down between my legs and looked up at my, like, up to my stomach to, like, make sure it's where she wanted it, like, symmetrical. And I was just like, girl, thank you. Thank you, because that's going to be a scar forever on my body, and I just really appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm prepped, and then they come up and they're like, what music do you want on? Do you have any favorite songs, any favorite genres? And I'm like, I wasn't aware I needed a playlist, so I was just like,
prepared for that.
Yeah, I know. Nobody told me to have a playlist in mind, so I'm just like, oh, I like just about anything. And they're like, is country good? And I was like, yeah. So country music in the background. Literally, they make the first incision, and then they bring in my husband and mom, because I don't know if you know this or not, they don't bring in your people until you're already open. I guess because if you do feel something, maybe your friends and family don't need to see that. But it was really crazy too. They like pinched, I guess, I didn't know. And somebody said, did you feel that? And I was like, I didn't feel anything. And she goes, good, because she just pinched the full out of you. And I actually had a bruise where whatever it was that they used left a mark. But anyways, so they did the initial cut, family comes in, and then, I mean, really, it was just a very bizarre feeling that I don't even know how to explain. It's crazy to me, too. Like, God's design in the whole process, because as they went in to get her, I could feel her moving up, like, into my chest.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy that even at, pre-birth, they already have an instinct to, like...
Kind of, like, retreating in a sense.
This is safe. I'm staying here.
Yeah.
But anyways, the whole surgery, like, I would say from the cut to the baby out was probably, like, not even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how fast they do this stuff. And so at 5:24, Indy was born, and it was just the craziest thing. I do remember, I say crazy, it wasn't hectic. Crazy as in, like, bizarre, like, mind-blowing. Just a really cool experience. And when they pulled her out, she didn't immediately cry. And, I mean, she might have been, like, 20 seconds without crying. Like, no one was concerned, or if they were, they did not let me know. But since lung development is a pretty common reason for babies going to NICU, I was scared. I just remember saying, I need her to cry, and then I'm just thinking back, that first little, like, little scream.
Little peep.
Yeah, it was just the cutest little thing. And then Connor is very, like, squeamish. Sorry, I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. But, like, he's the kind of guy, like... He's not really into, like, med shows or anything like that.
No blood.
So, to see him just, like, up and walk around me, mind you, cut wide open, because he's going to see the baby, you know. He walks all around me. The setup of the OR was really not ideal. But anyways.
Yeah.
He goes and gets her, brings her back to me. Sweetest moment ever. I did. So, to my left was, like, glass cabinets, and I was trying to watch. But you can't really see much. But...
I have to ask, do you remember what song played?
I don't. I do wish that I had been more present in that moment, because it would be really cool, because I know that if that song I remembered, then it'd be, like, sentimental. But I'm also like, well, dang, maybe what if it was a weird song? Like,
maybe it was, like, Wide Open Spaces by Dixie Chicks. Wide Open.
See what you did there. But
did you feel like you were like off mentally at all though? I mean, other than the fact that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to have a baby, but like, I know your body's not feeling anything. Did you feel like your mind was like kind of affected at all?
I don't know. It was like, really just like adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was happy. I do remember I was like shaking, but it's not because I was cold. And that could be nerves. It could be a side effect from the medicine. Like,
I think epidurals can do that too.
Yeah, I think it's just like the nerve blocking pain, whatever that is. Like, so I don't know if it was adrenaline, medicine, or what. Yeah. But no, it was, and I feel bad because I remember everything and also nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
but I think as usual for any story, because again, it is like that adrenaline of like, oh my gosh, I'm about to have a baby. You know?
And like, it was just crazy too. Like, somebody walked in late and Dr. Harris was like mid-surgery, and she's like, oh, don't worry, we're just taking our time over here. And I think the fact that it wasn't urgent is just what made it so relaxed.
Laid back.
And enjoyable, and it allowed me to be in the moment. And if you are a mom who had a negative experience, like, I could 100% understand how that room would be intimidating, intense, and you don't know these people. Because if you're in an emergency situation, I highly doubt someone's like, hello, I'm Dr. Thompson, and I'm going to be taking care of you.
What playlist do you want?
Yeah, you know, like, and I totally get that. And so I hope my story is not discouraging to some women who don't have that experience, but I'm just speaking my experience, and this was it.
Yeah.
So after that, they stitched me up. I think start to finish, we were in the OR for about an hour. But yeah, my mom took some pictures, so I have those little keepsakes, and it was just super cool. And I think after my experience, I was pretty excited to have I want to say a vaginal birth, because there was no part of me that thinks I could do natural.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted the epidural, but I was excited to do that. And part of me does feel like I missed out in a sense, because I didn't get that moment where the baby's placed on your chest and you do immediate skin to skin. And just like, as weird as this is, if I felt one, I might think differently, but like, I will never know what a contraction feels like.
Yeah.
Because as a C-section mom, I will probably have the option to schedule another C-section in the future. And after this experience, I don't have a desire to try for a VBAC anymore. I think I'm just going to do another scheduled C-section if we decide to have another. But
and that was going to be my question, because I know you kind of said all along, I remember us even having those conversations, you kind of felt like in the back of your head, you're like, I think this might be a possibility for me for one reason or another. But was there any struggle with kind of, in a sense, like having to accept that it was different than maybe what you had originally planned and having to end up getting a C-section?
No, definitely, because I am also a perfectionist. And so, again, I don't think this is the right mindset to have, but part of me felt like I had failed.
Yeah.
And, like, I was offered an ECV, I think is what it's called. Basically, it's when you get a spinal block and the doctor manually turns the baby. My high-risk doctor actually said I was a good candidate for that, and he was willing to do that. But this was also at 36 weeks. I was just told by him that he thinks I could go to term.
Yeah.
And if that does not go well, because the baby gets stressed with the process and their heart rate spikes, and if it does not settle back down to normal, you go have an emergency C-section. And I was like, why would I risk that, you know? So again, I didn't do that, but I mean, it was definitely tempting because I was like, I could have a chance, you know? But at the end of the day, I'm really happy with the way things worked out because it was such a positive experience. And right now I stay somewhere on the line of like, I don't say advocating for C-sections, but I do like to be a positive light for women who need one. Like, they're not all bad. Some of them can be very enjoyable and like, I don't know, I just feel like my eyes were opened to what it could be.
Yeah.
But also having that very real understanding that just, I don't want to go overhype them because I understand that not everyone's is that way. And most C-sections are not scheduled. I think most of them are the baby's heart rate drops or something happens in delivery that makes them more emergent and that, you know, like I don't want to like overhype it, but I also want to comfort moms who are expecting one like I was.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think you often do hear positive C-section stories, you know, because I think a lot of the times it can end up being a case where it's an emergency or unplanned.
Or you're so set on your birth plan, and so it's disappointing, you know? Not that you're not willing to do it, but there's definitely some disappointment there.
Yes. So I'm so proud of you for sharing this and wanting to, you know, advocate for a positive experience and share that, because I know there are people out there looking to hear a positive experience about it. So, and
again, I think God gives us our experiences to share them, you know, and I am an open book.
And now you've got beautiful little Indy to show for all of the hard work that you went through. And
very, very vain and materialistic point I'm going to make here. But because she was breech in a C-section, she had a perfectly round little baby. She didn't have the cone head.
And she's got some really, like, flexible legs, right?
I should share that. So, yeah.
You should, post a little picture up here.
Yeah, I think
for YouTube.
Okay, so I will, because I know that there's one I can share. You know, she was obviously naked, so not all of them can be shared. But, yeah, so imagine a frog's legs. That's how she came out, because she was literally breech, but she was still in, like, fetal position. Yeah. But, yeah, so she came out looking like a frog, and they did a special swaddle on her for breech babies. And I just remember after the surgery and stuff, they're like, look, we do this swaddle on the breech ones, look how sweet. And I was like, no, we're fixing her legs. So after they gave her to me, I, like, straightened her legs out and then did, like, a normal swaddle. Like, she can't. No.
Not going to be hopping around like a little frog.
But yeah, so that's my little breech baby, and I love her.
Oh, I know, and she's the cutest. Well, again, thank you for sharing your story. And
thank you for letting me. I love talking about it.
I know. It is super fun, and I can't believe, again, she's a year old now.
Well, she's the oldest. Yeah. So, well, not older than Archer, but of the two girls. So, you know, she's been one for a minute now. I know. That's crazy. And
by a minute, we mean, like, almost a month.
It's a long minute. But anyways, yeah, if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to shoot a DM on Instagram or something, because I love talking about it, and especially if it can help someone, like, take my experience and do with it what you will. I'm happy to answer questions, offer advice. I'm not a professional, but, you know, if, like, I know that when I realized I was going to get a C-section, I was able to reach out to some moms who had one and been like, what are the C-section must-haves? What are, you know, what recovery should I expect? You know, stuff like that.
And there's probably so much more that you could talk about. You know, we kind of gave, in a sense, the brief summary, but there's so much more you could get into.
I literally have bullet points for this. And on one of my bullet points, I put, don't spend forever on this point, because I take rabbit trails when I talk, and, you know, so.
Well, I think you did a very good job.
Thank you.
And I will also be sharing both of my birth experiences next, so you guys are welcome to check those out. I have a unmedicated story and a medicated story, also experienced a high-risk pregnancy. So if you're interested in hearing either of those, either for education or entertainment, you can check those out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you're also listening to your podcasts.
Yep, and with all of that, make sure you do check out those stories if you haven't yet. If you are finishing up the birth stories trifecta with Indy, we will catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to us, friend. If you felt encouraged by what you heard, please consider giving us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. Unless you hated it, because like your mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all.
And to officially join the Motherhood, follow us on Instagram at @themotherhood_moms. We always have ways to interact, and we want to hear from you. Have a great week.